sassy and spicy at turns. The jury saw long exchanges of text messages where the defense was trying to show that Jane was a willing, maybe even eager participant in the kind of style that Sean Combs was pushing, and they saw occasions when she would text Sean Combs about nights they could get slutty together.
Me and you could be mad, I could have a spat, we could have whatever, then after that you better get on your job. That's really, that's all it is. Hey baby, we had a great time, stay in the light. It's all good. Get your rest. You are the crack pipe.
Let me put this into perspective, because what happened in that federal courtroom felt less like a trial and more like the most chaotic reality show imaginable. No exaggeration. Imagine sitting there as jurors listen to Diddy's own voice echo through the speakers, casually insulting a woman, calling her his crack pipe, while federal prosecutors are laying the foundation for a serious SD case. That alone was jaw-dropping. But then things escalated fast. Almost instantly, 50 Cent went into full attack mode on social media. Posts were popping up and disappearing within minutes, deleted almost as quickly as fans could screenshot them. AI parody videos started circulating, turning a federal trial into viral content. And at the center of the storm was speculation that the woman on the voicemail might be Daphne Joy, model, entrepreneur, and 50 Cent's child's mother. What followed wasn't just messy celebrity drama. It became a public custody war layered on top of courtroom evidence. This wasn't gossip pulled from a blog or whispered in comment sections. This was material officially entered into a federal case. And 50 Cent's reaction didn't just add fuel to the fire, it shifted public perception entirely. Because when Curtis Jackson decides to engage, he doesn't play defense. He launches a full-scale offensive.
You are the crack pipe. That's my new name for you, crack pipe. Or should I call you CP? But, yeah, I want you to stay in the light. You know what I'm saying? We had a very, very good time together.
Here, what makes this situation so serious? This audio wasn't leaked by a gossip site or secretly recorded for clicks. It was presented as official evidence in a federal SD trial, played in front of a jury deciding whether this man could spend the rest of his life in prison. The woman receiving the voicemail is identified only as Jane Doe in court filings. But outside the courtroom, speculation has been running wild that it's Daphne Joy, a model, entrepreneur, and the mother of 50 Cent's youngest son. She's been photographed at Diddy's parties, seen moving in elite circles and living a lifestyle that now raises uncomfortable questions. When talk of monthly payments and business arrangements surfaced, suddenly certain details started to connect. And that's when the case crossed from legal proceedings into public controversy.
Where she was effectively accused of being in it for the money and the gifts and the 5,300 square foot house in Los Angeles instead of the 1,400 square foot apartment she had been living in before Sean Combs started paying her rent.
What made this moment especially brutal was watching Diddy's demeanor in the courtroom. This is a man known for commanding attention, someone who built a career on confidence, spectacle, and control. Yet as his own voice played for the jury, he sat silently, forced to confront how his words reduced women to disposable metaphors. Jurors scribbled notes, reporters typed furiously, and somewhere outside those walls, 50 Cent was almost certainly preparing his next move. But that voicemail was only the beginning. What followed was a detailed courtroom breakdown of how this alleged system operated behind closed doors. Jane Doe took the stand and explained how it all began: the meeting, the chemistry, the feeling of being chosen. She described how Diddy made her feel special, valued, and emotionally secure. At first, it felt like romance. Then came the payments, $10,000 every month, not earmarked for rent, not tied to bills or childcare. It covered everything: her lifestyle, her appearance, her availability, and most importantly, her silence. She described it as an arrangement that didn't feel like work until it suddenly did. One moment from her testimony stood out. She said Diddy asked what she needed financially. When she answered $15,000, he negotiated her down to $10,000, like two people bargaining over a purchase. In that instant, any illusion of love disappeared. What remained was a transaction wrapped in emotional language. And if the payments alone were unsettling, what she described next was worse. The hotel nights weren't spontaneous or romantic. They were scheduled, planned, structured like appointments. Business meetings disguised as intimacy, and that revelation shifted the entire tone of the courtroom.
The problem is, whatever you do on the bullshit, it's a loan. It's not a give. The Illuminati don't give nobody They loan. When they take back with interest.
Jane Doe testified that nothing about these encounters felt spontaneous. She said she received detailed instructions ahead of time, what to wear, who to bring, and exactly what would be expected once she arrived. This wasn't about spending quality time together. This was more like being told to report to the Ritz-Carlton at 8:00 p.m., bring 2 other women, and be prepared for whatever followed. Prosecutors introduced text messages that made the dynamic unmistakably clear. Diddy wasn't sending affectionate messages or flirtatious check-ins, he was sending what looked like schedules. Tomorrow night, set up the usual arrangement. Remember what we discussed about Atlanta? These weren't love notes, they were work orders. One of the most unsettling moments came when Jane Doe described how she felt after each encounter. She said it felt like she was being evaluated, as if there were an invisible scorecard tracking her performance, her enthusiasm, her compliance, her willingness to go along with whatever was asked. And if she didn't meet expectations, that's when the financial support would suddenly be questioned or threatened. The defense attempted to frame everything as consensual, arguing these were just extravagant parties between adults. But as the testimony continued, that narrative became harder to sell. The level of planning, the money involved, and the pressure placed on her to recruit others made it feel far less like partying and far more like a job. Then the story took an even darker turn. Jane Doe testified that she wasn't just expected to attend these hotel nights, she was expected to bring other women, not randomly either. She said Diddy would give her specific criteria: young, attractive, financially vulnerable, new to the city, and looking for opportunities. She described feeling like a talent scout for situations she wouldn't wish on anyone. While all of this was unfolding in a federal courtroom, 50 Cent was watching the coverage from home, slowly realizing what the implications might be. And when Curtis Jackson started to suspect that the Jane Doe describing monthly payments and freak-off parties could be the mother of his child, he didn't pick up the phone to call a lawyer. He opened Instagram. His first post was calculated and precise. A glamorous red carpet photo of Daphne Joy paired side by side with a courtroom sketch of Jane Doe on the stand. The caption said everything without saying anything at all.
He posted this on his Instagram saying, "Who is Jane Doe?" trying to out her as the witness that testified in Diddy's trial. If you all remember last year, she literally was named in the lawsuit saying that she was one of the women that was on his payroll.
50 Cent never explicitly said, "This is my baby mama testifying about being paid to attend parties." He didn't have to. The internet did the math in record time. Within hours, #Jane Doe was trending and social media was buzzing with speculation about the connection. Curtis knew exactly what he was doing and he wasn't finished. His second post raised the stakes even higher. It was a photo of him with his son, Sire, both giving the camera a legendary side eye. There was no caption, no explanation needed. That single image communicated everything about how he felt. What made these posts so powerful was the timing. While Diddy's legal team was fighting to control the narrative inside the courtroom, 50 Cent was dominating the narrative online. Prosecutors were presenting evidence to 12 jurors. Curtis was presenting his case to over 12 million followers. The posts didn't last long. They were deleted within hours, but by then it was too late. Screenshots had already spread across platforms, turning into memes, think pieces, and viral debates. 50 managed to confirm what many suspected while maintaining just enough plausible deniability to stay legally safe. But if anyone thought Instagram posts were the end of his response, they underestimated Curtis Jackson. Instead of cooling off, he escalated. He reportedly tapped his tech team to create what might be the most savage piece of social media satire hip-hop has ever seen: Freak Off Family Matters. It was a fully AI-generated parody of the classic sitcom intro, featuring animated versions of Diddy, Daphne Joy, Cassie, Young Miami, and other figures tied to the scandal, all dancing to a familiar tune with completely rewritten lyrics. What once felt like a courtroom drama had officially become a cultural spectacle, and 50 Cent was directing the show.
It's a rare condition, this day and age, to demand a freak off with so much rage. The strangest addiction that you'll ever find.
The video went viral almost instantly. Within hours, it had racked up millions of views before being taken down for copyright violations. But by that point, the damage was already done. The clip had been downloaded, reposted, and mirrored across every major platform. In a matter of days, 50 Cent had turned a federal SD case into viral entertainment, while simultaneously dragging everyone connected into the public spotlight. But this is where 50's response becomes truly calculated. Because it turns out this wasn't a spontaneous reaction at all. It was the payoff of a plan that had been unfolding for over a year. Back in 2023, when Young Miami was cast in 50's hit series BMF, Black Mafia Family, most people assumed it was just smart business casting Diddy's girlfriend to boost buzz. Looking back now, it feels very different. Seen through today's lens, the casting looks less like coincidence and more like strategy. 50 knew about Diddy's relationships. He allegedly knew about the financial arrangements, the hotel nights, and the power dynamics involved. So what did he do? He placed someone from Diddy's inner circle directly under his control. The role wasn't about acting range or star power. It was leverage, a long game designed to send a clear message. His reach extended into every corner of Diddy's personal life. That message was about dominance, not entertainment, about control, not coincidence. But if anyone thought Daphne Joy was going to quietly absorb the public humiliation, they underestimated her. Her response detonated the entire narrative. She took to Instagram with a post that felt like a confession, an accusation, and a declaration of war all at once. She accused 50 Cent of emotional and physical abuse, rejected his claims outright, and framed herself as someone finally breaking free. She wrote that she was no longer oppressed, that her faith would handle what came next, and that his actions had permanently destroyed any hope of preserving their family. Within hours, Daphne filed a defamation lawsuit against 50 Cent, claiming his social media posts had damaged her reputation and interfered with her ability to earn income. More importantly, she flipped the roles. Suddenly, the narrative wasn't about her being exposed, it was about her being victimized. Now the situation has spiraled far beyond its original scope. A federal SD case has triggered a custody battle, a defamation lawsuit, and multiple competing claims of victimhood. Diddy remains in federal custody, facing decades in prison if convicted. Jane Doe continues testifying about what she describes as systematic exploitation. But the spotlight has shifted. The most visible war now is between 50 Cent and Daphne Joy, and the entire entertainment industry is watching closely, not just with fascination but with fear. Because this case is pulling back the curtain on business practices many would rather keep hidden.
That in early 2023, that Sean Combs presented to her what he called a love contract. She said that this was a 2-year contract where he said that he would give her a monthly allowance. She asked for $15,000. He said he would give her $10,000. She said that she spent that monthly allowance on a home for her and her son.
Behind the scenes, industry insiders are quietly having uncomfortable conversations. How many powerful men have used monthly payments to secure availability and silence? How many women entered relationships believing they were loved, only to find themselves trapped in something transactional and controlling? The public war between 50 Cent and Daphne Joy has also reshaped how celebrity conflicts unfold. Record labels, streaming services, and production companies are reassessing their ties to anyone connected to the scandal. No one wants to be linked to SD allegations, but no one wants to be accused of abandoning people who haven't been convicted either. What makes this situation especially compelling is the psychological warfare happening on multiple levels. Diddy is fighting to maintain his innocence as damaging testimony plays in federal court. 50 Cent is using humor and virality to dominate public perception. Daphne is pushing back with serious accusations that force the conversation in an entirely new direction. It's not just legal anymore, it's strategic, emotional, and deeply public.
Gia, the love contract was really important for the prosecution because they're establishing coercion that goes to the sex trafficking charge. The idea that Diddy was using his power, influence, and threats to get Jane to engage in these hotel nights, these freak offs.
At this point, every side is fighting to be seen as the victim while painting the others as the aggressors. Diddy's legal team argues that Jane Doe was a willing participant now attempting to extort money. 50 Cent's camp claims he's simply a concerned father protecting his child. Daphne's team insists she's a victim of abuse and manipulation. The truth likely lives somewhere in the gray area between these competing narratives. But in the court of public opinion, nuance doesn't travel well. Perception becomes reality, and right now the perception is that everyone involved has serious questions to answer. The most heartbreaking aspect of this saga, though, is its impact on the children. 50 Cent and Daphne Joy's son, Sire, is watching his parents tear each other apart in public while fighting over who gets to raise him. Court documents describe a child confused by the constant fighting, the headlines, and seeing his family's private life turned into public spectacle. Child psychologists who work with high-profile families warn that this kind of exposure can be deeply damaging. Kids see their parents dissected online, their home life debated by strangers, and their futures shaped by judges influenced by viral clips and federal testimony. The situation is further complicated by how the federal case intersects with family court. If Daphne were to face charges connected to the Diddy case, it could affect her parental rights. If 50's social media actions are interpreted as harassment, it could weaken his custody claims. Every post, every filing, every headline matters. Media coverage has been relentless. Entertainment reporters camp outside courthouses. Social media analysts dissect every Instagram move. Legal experts predict outcomes in real time. Different outlets focus on different angles. Hip-hop blogs frame it as a long-running rivalry. Gossip sites focus on relationship drama. Legal publications track the charges, and parenting platforms highlight the custody battle. The story has become so layered it's difficult to follow. Federal prosecutors are building a case, defense attorneys are pushing back, family court judges are making life-altering decisions, algorithms amplify every dramatic moment. As of now, developments are happening almost daily. Testimony continues, lawsuits pile up, social media keeps spinning the narrative. What began as a voicemail played in a courtroom has evolved into a sprawling scandal exposing celebrity culture, power dynamics, and the influence of social media. The final outcomes remain unknown, but the damage is already undeniable.
Me and you could be mad. I can have a spat. We can have whatever. Then after that, you better get on your job. That's really that's all it is.
What complicated Daphne Joy's testimony even further was what happened during cross-examination. Diddy's defense team introduced her own text messages, forcing her to confront inconsistencies in her narrative. Under intense questioning, Daphne acknowledged sending numerous affectionate messages throughout the relationship, texts where she referred to Diddy as a good man and expressed genuine concern for his well-being. The defense walked the jury through message after message showing Daphne initiating contact, thanking him for his support, and even defending him publicly during moments of controversy. One particularly damaging exchange showed her reassuring him after negative press, telling him not to let criticism get to him and affirming her belief in his character. These messages didn't appear forced or scripted. They read as sincere expressions of affection. That contradiction between her supportive texts and her courtroom claims created openings the defense was quick to exploit. As a result, questions now hang over how her testimony may affect not only the federal case but also her custody battle with 50 Cent. What's undeniable is that this story has permanently changed how we view celebrity conflicts and federal prosecutions. That single voicemail, the one that reduced a private arrangement to public evidence, marked a turning point. It transformed rumors into charges and exposed how easily personal relationships can become legal weapons. More than anything, this case will be remembered as the moment social media warfare became part of legal strategy, when custody battles became public entertainment, when the line between victim and perpetrator blurred so completely that everyone involved could plausibly claim to be both. And this isn't the end. With federal prosecutors, media-savvy celebrities, and millions of dollars on the line, this scandal has the momentum to unfold for years. Messy, dramatic, legally complex, and far from finished.